Hey guys, on this show, I talked a lot about SEO. I talk a lot about the importance of SEO. Not only that, I also talk a lot about the proper structure to have a successful SEO campaign. And if you recall, I always discuss about three main elements. That's site structure, content, and backlinks. Well, in today's episode, I'm going to have a gentleman challenge me because I have a gentleman who claims he can get traffic to your website with very little backlinks. And I want him to explain that to you. I think it's a very interesting process that he takes, but he's been getting a lot of results for his clients. So let's get into the show, see if he can educate you, see if he can educate me, and find out what in the world is he doing to get these results. So without further ado, enjoy the show.
Hello, and welcome to Marketing Solutions for Local Businesses, the podcast where you will discover all the latest and greatest digital marketing tools, tips, and strategies you will need to implement in order to stay ahead of your competition. If you are not getting the results you are looking for from your digital marketing efforts, this is the podcast for you. And now, here's the host of our show, the local business guy himself, Frank Deming.
Hello, everyone. This is Frank Deming, the local business guy, and welcome to another episode of Marketing Solutions for Local Businesses. Happy Wednesday. Happy hump day, everyone. I hope you guys are having a rockin' week thus far. Today, as I said in the pre-intro, I have someone who we're gonna kind of spar a little bit in this interview because he is doing everything opposite of what I do in terms of SEO. And I'll get into that in a minute as to what that is, but it's something that I never knew was possible in SEO. And I've been doing SEO for over 15 years now. So without further ado, I am going to introduce to you the great Nick Jordan. Hey, Nick, what's going on?
Hey, Frank, thank you so much for the great intro. I'm really excited to be here and kind of share my own experiences doing SEO for the last couple of years.
Yeah. I'm dying to hear this thing, and I'm sure my audience is too, because the audience has heard my spiel on SEO and what I think what's need to be done. So I'm very interested to hear your opinion and your experiences as well in the whole SEO arena. But before we get to all of that, I would love for you to introduce yourself to the audience. So basically, other than your name, who are you and what do you do?
Absolutely. Yeah. My name is Nick Jordan. I'm the founder of workello.com, and we're a skills assessment platform for hiring writers, virtual assistants, paralegals, or really any role that you want to bring into your organization. But before I started Workello, I ran an SEO agency. And kind of my claim to fame is I took a project from 0 to 1.5 million organics a month for a legal robot called Do Not Pay. They won the ABA's, I think, best legal tech company of 2000 something. And we did it without building backlinks or doing much technical BS. And that campaign allowed them to go from a seed stage startup to a $210 million valuation.
Wow. No, that's exciting. Now you said something there that triggered that I think I'm going to use as my first question for now. I do have a couple of questions in mind, but since you said something about that, now I am a huge advocate. I've been doing SEO for years, right? And I'm a huge advocate of three core principles of SEO. Number one is site structure. Number two is content. And number three is backlinks. Now, you got to show me a different paradigm. I know you believe in the first two, but you don't believe in the last. So show me a different paradigm.
It's my opinion on number three, backlinks, is nuance. And honestly, I get more engagement and attention when I come out swinging with the no backlinks messaging. But I have noticed that sites with a lot of authority and a lot of backlinks, the content ranks easier than sites without that. But in our campaign, we didn't build any new ones do not pay actually at a significant amount of authority and backlinks from their founders' Genius Earned Media campaign.
Okay.
So nuance, but not nearly as engaging when I fully explain my whole thoughts.
So all right. So I got. I mean, I don't know about the audience, but I got a little bit lost there. So when you say no backlinks, like what? But you did also say just now that backlinks are important, but you really don't need it. Am I correct?
Let
in
me
that
be more
assumption?
specific. Yeah, I've taken 4 projects from 0 to 100,000 organics a month without building any backlinks. DR9 projects, DR30 projects, DR40 projects. And in all of those circumstances, I was able to take whatever backlink profile that those brands had and made it work to drive the desired outcome without having to build a new backlinks.
So when you say 0 to 100,000, you talk about visits, website visits,
organics a month. Yeah. Yeah. And so
that's
what
amazing.
I've seen is that even though I don't need to build backlinks to create massive outcomes, the projects that I work on that already have a lot of backlinks generally tend to go a bit faster than the ones that don't.
Okay. So I have this whole presentation, Nick, that because I'm I've been asked to present on SEO for a long time, and I give them a brief background of how Google works and this and that, and one of the main things I talk about is the need for backlinks. So just give me, am I educating them wrong? I mean, so in your opinion, how does Google work? Because in my opinion, it works with all the algorithm works with, okay, I'm getting authority links from this site. This must mean that this site is very important, which must mean that I'm giving a quote unquote vote system for this website because it's got a lot of relevant links to it. So in your opinion, how does Google work?
Yeah, for sure. So I think there is a little bit of nuance. I when I was doing SEO, I was primarily working on national campaigns, and I know you have a focus in local, and I know that those can differ pretty greatly in the way that Google structures the algorithm. But the way that I think SEO works is, it's 2022, and when you look at all of the major platforms, the number one kind of metric that influences how much reach you get is user engagement. So TikTok uses user engagement metrics to influence whether you hit the explore page. YouTube uses user engagement metrics to influence how often you appear in the search results and the browse pages. TikTok uses user engagement metrics to figure out how many people to show your content to. Same thing with LinkedIn. Same thing with all the other platforms. And then I look at Google, who owns Google Chrome. They own Android and they own Google Analytics. And I think it would be crazy for the world's most sophisticated big data company not to use their proprietary analytics to measure user engagement metrics to influence reach.
Wow. Now that's awesome. Now, not understanding technology, you guys don't understand the power of what he just said. Now, if you do understand technology, you definitely understand that power. So, yeah, it does change my whole view of Google, and I got to start trying this as well. But as you said, most of my attorney clients, as I deal with a lot of attorneys, are local attorneys, personal injury attorneys, family law attorneys. Those are people who are in the local areas. But there are attorneys who deal in a national level that will probably be very interested in reaching out to you and talking to you. But let's give them a little bit more meat. Because I want to help you as much as I can, because I think your product is amazing, especially for a national brand. So huh?
Sorry for interrupting. Do you mind if I throw out an analogy to kind of help people conceptualize, the thing I just said, the very, very bold statement and claims I made?
No, man. Get ahead. The floor is yours, my friend.
All right. So the way, I've also had to explain SEO a lot, and kind of I've tried it a million different ways. And the way that I feel like resonates with people is when I say, all right, so you're Google and you can't even understand the content that you're crawling and indexing and choosing to display to the user. And so if I were to show you, Frank, two pieces of content in an alien language, this could either be something like Japanese or Korean or Chinese, I'm assuming you don't speak, or it could even literally be an alien language. And you couldn't read it, but I did tell you the user engagement metrics. This page has 10 minutes time on site. It has a 50% bounce rate, and there's 10 pages visited per visitor. And then this one has a 95% bounce rate, 30 seconds, average site visit, and then 1.2 pages per visitor. And it's about the same exact topic. Without reading the text, just by looking at the user engagement metrics, you could probably guess which one creates more value for the user.
Yeah, the first one, definitely.
So that's with over 250,000 page one keywords and not having to build any backlinks. It's more of my experience informing my theories than me having some grand vision and then setting out to prove it's true.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, I could totally get that exactly what you're talking about because I guess I understand the technology. So that's a great analogy, and hopefully it paints a clearer picture for the audience. All right, so you mentioned not to sound redundant, a keyword there, which is keywords. So remember I said like the whole thing in my theory of SEO is site structure, content and backlinks, right? Now, outside of that, a very, very, very important piece of SEO is keywords. So not just keywords, it's keyword research, because, let's be frank, if you're going to be competing on a keyword that's highly, highly competitive, you will never get there. And I can say never, because I've seen websites try for 10 years to compete against these highly ranked highly searched keywords and never get to the first page. So how do keyword research, how would keyword research work for like a legal field, for the legal entity that's in a national brand? Because that's very difficult to pin down, don't you think?
Yeah, absolutely. And this is, it all starts with keyword research, like you said. If you miss this foundational aspect, you can invest a whole lot of money into everything else and really come up short if you mess up this one thing. So it's definitely really important. There's this concept these days going around in the national search community, and it's called topical authority. And it's essentially you have this like backlink authority and this domain authority based off of how many links are going to your website. And topical authority is how well you cover any given topic. And so an example I'll use is someone that's published 1,000 pages on immigration to the United States is seen as a much bigger topical authority, or has more topical authority than the law firm website with 10 pages about immigration to the United States.
Exactly.
And it's basically a measure of comprehensiveness. And so when you're, a lot of brands think that there's a couple keywords that they want to rank for, at least on the national level. I want to rank for immigration law firm. But really, the opportunity to get in front of people who have money and want to give it to you is a lot bigger than immigration law firm or immigration legal services. It's things like, how long does an H-1B visa take? What are the top companies granting H-1B visas? Like, how much does it cost? What's the sponsorship process look like? And so there's all these subtopics around the core topic of H-1B that your audience who's qualified and has money to pay you is searching for. And that's kind of, I think, the concept of topical authority is how well do you cover any particular topic?
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of that. I mean, we do that on the local level. We'll for family law attorneys, we'll say, hey, what's the average time frame for divorce in XYZ state or
Yeah.
XYZ county. Hey, spousal abuse, things like that. We'll cover keywords that surround that. And usually our attorneys crush it. So you're doing it at a national level though. That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah. And, when the way that I explain Google's behavior is I try not to use technical explanations. I try and use business logic explanations. So recently, John Mueller, the head of Google search, at least from a PR perspective, has come out and said, it's hard to call a 30-page website authoritative. And if you think about it, creating a 30-page website in 2022 is accessible to a lot of people, a lot more accessible than it was, 5 years ago. And so if you want to stand out as an expert in your field, one of the easiest ways you can do it is by simply just publishing more content about the topics that you want to rank for. Going back to that example, if you have a dog website and it's about puppies and you have 1,000 articles and your competitor has 30, just in Google's eyes, by the sheer volume of content that you have, you've got to be a bigger expert because one, you wrote more content. But two, content's expensive. And so if you're going to make that level of investment, you need some sort of business model that delights customers behind it.
Hey guys, I hope you guys are enjoying the content that our guest is bringing you today. Incidentally, speaking of the guests, if you would like to be a guest on this show, if there's something that you would like to promote when it comes to digital marketing or anything within your business that you would like to promote, give us a call at 888-416-7752 or simply send us an email at info@lbmsllc.com. Someone from my office will then send you the podcast intake form and we will schedule you on the show. So if that's something you would like to do, go ahead and do that and I'll put you on the show. For now, enjoy the rest of the show. All right, so let me ask you this. I just thought of something here. We're talking about keyword research, and we're talking at a national level. And we're drilling down into even the strategy. How effective has that been? I mean, because it's still, since you're talking about a national level, I can see it working on the local level, and maybe it's just I'm just being naive because I've never worked at a national level. How does it work nationally?
Yeah, for sure. So let's reference Do Not Pay, the legal robot that I think a lot of your audience may be familiar with. So they have this feature that allows you to do parking tickets. It allows you to dispute parking tickets very easily. Now, a single page about parking tickets isn't going to rank for every time someone searches for how to pay a parking ticket in San Antonio to how to not pay a parking ticket in Seattle. Right. It's not relevant enough to the query. Google's going to have pages that are more relevant to what the user is searching for. Even though we help them, that single page can't be relevant to every city in the US related to parking tickets. And so what we had to do, if we wanted to appear in all those cities, is we had to go on a local level actually and create don't pay Seattle parking tickets, don't pay California, don't pay LA parking tickets. And we ended up creating hundreds and hundreds of local articles so we could give Google what it wants, which is an article about the city where the parking ticket was received. Okay.
Gotcha. Interesting. I'm not sure if you have an answer for this next question, or if you're allowed to answer this next question. So one of the things we do is when we're doing our keyword research, we also do a competitive analysis as to where your actual, where your competitors are. We either try to do better marketing than they do, or we try a different avenue altogether, so that way, we can siphon some of that traffic. From a national level, is that an available strategy too, like something like a competitive analysis?
Yeah, definitely. Especially when you're looking at some of the really big national players, the more marketplaces. Those guys invest heavily into SEO, and it's a great place to start because they they have dedicated teams. They probably have dozens and dozens of SEOs. Their SEO spend might be over $100,000 a month, and if there's an opportunity, they've probably thought about it. So it definitely makes sense to start with the competitors.
And do you work with like, because these are larger firms, obviously. So most large firms have, like, say, a marketing manager or whatever. You work with marketing managers.
Yeah. So our legal experience is limited to the Legal Robot app. But in a normal engagement, we'll work with a marketing manager or a VP of marketing or some sort of marketer.
That's quite interesting. I forgot to ask you, how long has your business been up?
4 years, just 4 years.
4 years. Okay.
5 or 6 years ago, I was a sales guy.
Okay.
I completely reskilled my career at the young age of 29.
Oh man. Yeah, he's the man. He's the man. I'm telling you, Nick Jordan is the man. I've become a fan. I mean, just on this whole no backlinks thing, I gotta give it a shot. If I'm doing anything nationally, that is. All right. So just a few more questions here. So one of the things when it comes to what we talked about when you're doing your keyword research and you're basically looking for keywords that are answering questions or questions that people are asking. You're doing your research, you say, oh wow, this question's coming up a lot, let me do something. Now you have to write, right? You gotta write an article, and although attorneys are great writers for the most part, they're not really writing to get found, if you know what I'm saying. So it's a skill set to write. I mean, writing is a skill set, but I think writing for legal is a different skill set. So where do you find people to write for legal?
Yeah, for sure. So, I think a lot of lawyers, like you said, are great writers because in order to pass law school, you have to create a significant amount of content, but you're creating it for a very sophisticated audience. And when you're creating content to get found by consumers like me and you who don't know anything about law and just want the answers to our problems, it's a very different type of style.
100%.
It's not that super dense stuff that's going to appear in front of a judge. You need the average reading level in America is 8th grade. 54% of Americans have below an 8th grade reading level. So you need to be.
That's sad.
Anyway, if you want to find, what I always tell people when they're recruiting B2B, not B2B writers, but writers from a highly paid field like law firms, is you don't want lawyers writing the content because lawyers are so dang expensive. You generally want to look for the most knowledgeable, lowest paid role in that organization or that field, which is the paralegal. And so you can find great writers with a lot of legal knowledge, and because they're paralegals, maybe you can pay them $20 an hour, and they're pumped because they don't need to work with their boss that they hate, and they get to work from home.
But okay, so okay, that makes sense. However, do they have the skill set to write? Because there's two ways of writing, in my opinion. You got to write for the audience, but you also have to write for the algorithms. So does that paralegal have the know-how to write for the algorithms?
They don't. They for sure don't. So kind of the way that we structured when I was running the agency and had a content team is that the writers are responsible for being subject matter experts and creating good content. And then the PMs would come in and sprinkle a little bit of that SEO magic on the content to make sure it aligns with best practices around optimization and URLs and headings and internal linking and external linking and things of that nature. So you can't just hire a paralegal to create good content and expect it to perform in the way that you're hoping for.
Yeah. So how important is content when it comes to SEO?
I recently did an analysis of some of the best SEO campaigns ever. NerdWallet, HubSpot, The Points Guy. And what I see is a very strong correlation between the amount of content published and ultimately the outcome. I did that same analysis, but in one industry. So HubSpot and the Point Scar in different industries, hard to compare them. I looked at all the top sites in the dog niche. And what was interesting is the sites generated on average about the same number of traffic per page of content. So one site would generate about 170 visitors per month per page. And then the top site would generate about 870 visitors per month per page. And so the band of traffic that's generated per page of content published is pretty narrow. And what I saw is that there wasn't anyone generating 80% of the traffic with 20% of the content. And all the numbers I've seen indicate that if you want to generate 1 million visitors a month, you have to publish over 1,000 pages
of content.
Yeah.
So what's your take on, on-page content versus writing content to, obviously you don't do backlinks, so scratch that question. But okay, for my edification, for my practice, what is your take on the on-page stuff versus getting great high value content coming into your site?
So going back to like my no backlinks theory, it wasn't something I set out to like prove. I think I would have figured out how to do backlinks if I ever got stopped and couldn't continue to make progress towards my goals. But I've always been kind of able to drive the desired outcome, and I haven't had to go and learn those things because the doors have always been open. I think that if you have a strong brand marketing, that you'll naturally accumulate the amount of backlinks that you'll need to get most of the way there. So, if you're going on podcast tours, people I know, or you host a podcast and the guests end up sharing it, or you're hustling your friends. Hey, my friend in a similar industry, let me write a blog post. Or you're doing sponsorships. Like general brand marketing will accumulate links for your site, and I feel like you can do a lot of damage with just what you accumulate naturally.
That's true. I can concur with that. All right, cool. I mean, this has all been great. This has been very highly educational for me. I hope it's been educational for the audience as well. Time will tell as we publish this episode and see how many shares I get from it. I'll definitely let you know that. But before I let you go, I know you're a busy man, Nick. Is there anything I did not ask you that you think will benefit the audience?
I publish everything that we just talked about and more, and very detailed step-by-step guides on my website, workallo.com. You can join my Facebook group, That Graph Content Ops, or check out my YouTube channel. I think, Frank, you should be putting links in the description to those places. But let's get you doing national campaigns, man. Let's take you East Coast to West Coast, USA wide.
Yeah. Let's do that. Let's just definitely talk offline when we're off there on that. But before I let you go, I just want to let the audience know that all of his information will be in the show notes. I have his website there. I'll have his LinkedIn information, his YouTube channel, et cetera. So you can hook up and connect with Nick Jordan. I think it will help you tremendously, especially if you're a national law firm. Even if you're a local law firm, but you have a national entity within your law firm that has to do with anything from a national standpoint, from here east to west, here in the United States. I think you should look up Nick Jordan. I totally endorse him. He's I was going to say a brainiac, but I think that's shortcoming him. I'm shortchanging the man right there. The man is brilliant, and I think you should meet him. So without further ado, I'm going to put an end to this episode. This has been Frank Deming, the local business guy, and you've just been blessed by the great Nick Jordan. Take care, everyone. Until next week. Peace.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Marketing Solutions for Local Businesses, the podcast where you will discover all the latest and greatest digital marketing tools, tips, and strategies you will need to implement in order to stay ahead of your competition. Don't forget, any links that were mentioned during the broadcast will be available to you in the show notes, so be sure to grab them while you have the chance. Incidentally, if you have any topics that you would like for us to discuss on the show, be sure to send an email to the email provided in the show notes, or click the Contact Us link and let us know what topic you would like us to help you with, and we'll be sure to add it to our schedule. If you would like for Frank and his team to look at your digital marketing presence and give you a free evaluation, simply click the Request a Free Consultation link in the show notes to get a hold of them. That being said, until our next episode, make it a successful digital marketing day. Peace out.